Hi. When I do my words, I'll be using this side of my face. When I use this side of my face, I'll be using the Muslim. I'll be using the atheists. Plus, I'll be speaking in a Stewie Griffin accent. At least try to, for the atheist. Because to me, Stewie Griffin sounds like the stereotype of an atheist. All right. So I'll begin this thing now. Is this recording? I believe it is recording. Okay. All right.
Your Stewie voice needs work.
True.
And listening to read all this is rather boring, especially if you have to go back, reread, and jump a bit.
Fair enough.
If you're going to switch camera angles, either use two cameras or set the one on different spots and edit. Swapping around like this is also annoying.
Okay.
There are two possible theories of time. One is that time did not always exist. The other is that it did.
I'd have to say so.
And neither of these makes any sense.
What?
If time didn't exist, there's no time for an event to create time to occur in.
Exactly.
If time always existed, that means you can go infinitely far back into the past, which makes no sense as physical infinities don't seem to work.
What if there is an eternal God, though? You know.
To see why infinite time is also nonsensical, consider if the Earth followed the various religions that came up with a giant turtle and the following likely untrue story.
Oh, like the Earth is being spread out on the back of a giant fish called Nun, like Muhammad believed?
Someone is told the Earth is round, and they argue that they know it's supported on the back of a giant turtle. What's supporting the turtle? They're asked. Can't fool me. It's turtles all the way down. This is at once ridiculous.
Makes sense to me. I kid.
The idea of an infinite column of turtles makes no sense. It's supporting the next. If nothing else, it fails to explain what's supporting the infinite pile of turtles. But yet we accept this story of physical infinity in time, where a moment in time is seen as supported by the moment before it. So when we say time always was, is infinite to the past, we're saying it's time all the way back, turtles all the way down. Space suffers from the same problem. Start with any point in space, and each surrounding point is supported by that point. Space is infinite because it's space all the way out. This is all contradictory, and doesn't fit our models of how causality works. To our pattern-matching minds, evolved in an established world, trying to use brain patterns developed for the purpose of finding food and mates and avoiding danger, neither answer is sensible.
Yet there is time and space.
To understand the time started argument, you can't ask what caused it.
Because that involves faith in an eternal God outside of time and space, true?
It is as uncaused as God.
Right.
Causality starts with the Big Bang, beginning of time. Talking about before the Big Bang is logically incoherent.
You mean faith-based?
It's discussing a time prior to time. It's like discussing cars of the early 1800s until there are cars. Any discussion about cars is meaningless. You can discuss the causality of how cars came about because causality and time are not cars. But you can't discuss the miles per gallon of car in 1885 prior to the existence of cars generally in 1886 or whenever you want to say the car started. Or whenever you want to say the car started minus 1 year. Being outside of time is not relevant.
Right, for that deals with faith, true.
Uh, Causality, as we understand it, requires time. So anything outside of time has no time to happen in.
True. You believe that time. Yeah, thus, you believe that time did just pop into existence for no apparent reason, true? And don't think it was caused by something outside of time and space of this universe, true?
Again, it's like discussing the miles per gallon of horses. So if God is, quote, outside of time, he can't do anything at all, ever.
Thus, you have to believe time just happened, true? And that makes sense to you. Something did come from nothing, true? But how do you know?
God can't move. There's no time for the motion to happen and can't think. No time for the thoughts to happen and can't cause. No time for the cause to happen and.
What if an eternal God uses his own kind of time we aren't familiar with? One day to God being 1,000 years being a day, that sort of thing.
Outside of time is logically incoherent.
If so, it really sounds like you believe something can come from nothing, and that energy can be created and destroyed. True?
We only accept it as a premise for fiction because it's fun, but it doesn't make sense as reality.
If so, then again, something can come from nothing, and time can be created and destroyed, going counter to a scientific principle. True?
We can show the Big Bang happened. There's evidence for it. Anything that came before it currently off limits to discussion because we have no a way, and never have a way, and may never have a way of figuring out what it was back there. Yeah, of figuring out what it was back there.
Right. For to speculate and believe what caused time would take faith, would it not? Just don't say it was an eternal God like the Bible says, true?
The only really appropriate answer to what caused the Big Bang is we don't know.
If so, then how can you be an atheist with any degree of satisfaction?
Theism provides various answers other than that. Yahweh, Brahman, Zeus, Jehovah, etc. And atheism says, we don't believe you, prove it. Which with theism has failed to do.
Well, how's this? I don't believe time just started. Energy can be created from nothing until you prove it. How's that?
If time always existed, that means you can go infinitely far back into the past, which makes no sense as physical infinities don't seem to work.
What if there is an eternal God, though?
Irrelevant.
You hope?
Eternal literally means for all time.
I bet you're right.
Eternity is about time existing forever.
Right.
The existence of God would be as infinite as time and would suffer the same problems.
Thus, you have to believe God or time just popped into existence from nothing, true? First there was nothing, then suddenly pop, God, or suddenly pop, time, true? Like Stephen Hawking believes, right?
Talking about before the Big Bang is logically incoherent.
You mean faith-based?
No, I mean logically incoherent.
How so?
It contradicts itself and cannot be.
But it is not logically incoherent to have nothing, then suddenly pop God, or suddenly pop time, true? How is that not logically incoherent?
You can discuss the causality of how cause came about because causality and time are not cause, but you can't discuss the miles per gallon of a car in 1885 prior to the existence of cars generally in 1886, or whatever you want to say. The car started minus 1 year. Being outside of time is not relevant.
Right, that deals with faith, true?
No, there's no cause to be discussed prior to cause existing. So this has nothing to do with faith.
If you weren't there to suddenly see nothing producing God or time, how is that not faith-based?
You can't have faith that there's a miles per gallon to cars prior to 1886. It's a non-existent value. It isn't real. Faith is irrelevant.
When you weren't there to see nothing producing something, well, how is that not faith-based to believe nothing did produce something, i.e., time or God?
Uh, Causality, as we understand it, requires time, so anything outside of time has no time to happen in.
Thus, you believe that time did just pop into existence for no apparent reason, true? And don't say it was caused by something outside of time and space of this universe. True? Let's see here. I think I might have to stop it here. Let's see, is it turn time stop? Is it trying to stop it here? Yeah, I'll stop this one here, and then I'll start it again.